Hi, and welcome to the Fancy Comma YouTube. Happy New Year. We made it through 2025, which in many ways was a dumpster fire of a year. And we emerged to tell the tale. I'm still processing how I want to tell that tale. As a PTSD researcher, I feel the need to point out that it's really important to take time to actually think about things that are painful to think about and see if you can tell the story in a way that empowers you to persevere and achieve your goals. And I think if I had to choose a narrative, it would be I watched the federal US science infrastructure basically fall apart. I had been warning people for at least 5 years that scientists' involvement in policy is important. Looking forward to 2026, there's a lot of things that I want to do. A lot of things I haven't had time for. Slowly, I'm learning how to manage my time better. I just did part of my business taxes, and it literally took maybe an hour to get everything put together, whereas usually it takes several hours. And actually, I beat the IRS because they don't have the business tax forms that I need on their website yet. Probably because they fired everyone, but that's neither here nor there. And in other news, we also, fancy comma, I impulsively today adopted an emoji. I'm not going to tell you which emoji, but I'm going to publish another video about that. So stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed. And yeah, so in other news, we're kind of watching a complete reconceptualization of the media landscape. Because remember how for like a good since 2016 started, mainstream media was anti-Donald Trump. And then recently, CBS News hired Barry Weiss, who I think founded the Free Press, to basically run all of CBS News. I had heard that CBS News is just failing. So out of curiosity, I used to love the evening news, by the way. The lady, I forget her name, that does the evening news, it used to be based out of Washington, D.C. I don't know if it still is, but the other newses are based out of New York, I think, but because I've lived in Washington, D.C., and also because Washington, D.C. based newsrooms are often very more centered around policy and stuff, I really love that. But so I was watching the evening news, and I was actually really impressed with what I saw. I thought I'd be really disappointed, but I really appreciate the fact that, for example, they had a really interesting, Jerika Duncan did the news on New Year's Eve, and I watched that. They had a really good segment on the daycares that are run in Minnesota that apparently, allegedly, according to this journalist slash influencer, he like went to this daycare and there were no people in it. And so then he was like, where are the people? And as someone that's worked with children, like I've been a kindergarten teacher, which is pure chaos, by the way, but something on my bucket list. So I was like, hey, I'm going to be a kindergarten teacher. It was actually difficult, but also very fun. But also when you're working with kids that young, you can't just like let them run around. So anyway, to get back to my point, CBS News actually contacted some of the daycares and obtained footage of people actually leaving the daycares. So I was like 100% convinced that this guy had just uncovered this huge thing about daycare fraud. It was interesting journalism in a way, but it had been in the news since like earlier this year, perhaps earlier than that. But anyway, I thought they would just kind of go along with what this influencer guy said, but they really challenged it and did some really good journalistic reporting and got some facts and evidence. And by the end of the news segment, I was absolutely convinced that that young journalist slash influencer maybe did not have the full facts, or that the story was a little bit more complicated than his little Instagram reel made it out to be. And that's one thing I really like about journalism, when it does get to the root of the issue, figure out what's happening. Actually, uncover truths. That's what journalism is supposed to be doing. That's really hard to do, but I thought CBS News did it really well. Barry Weiss has been getting a lot of criticism for, I'm not sure. Oh, it was because of that 60 Minutes interview about the detention centers, which I actually watched a half of that and I couldn't anymore because it was so sad. Yeah, that was good too. I don't know if they're ever going to formally release it, but what's happening in those centers is really concerning. We're at a time in history where we have to read the room. We have to go back to the drawing board, do the things that we're known for in our work as journalists, as science communicators, as marketers, as science policy professionals, like what we're really known for. Like journalists are really known for uncovering the truth, revealing corruption, highlighting stories of people you would never hear about otherwise. You can say the same kind of thing with science communicators. Like our job isn't to convince people to like science, but to communicate science in a way that really resonates with people. So in 2026, one thing I really want to do is just do more of what I love to do, which is observe the world and see what's going on, who's communicating science and doing journalism well, who can I learn from, what can I learn this year that can help me be a better person in my job and also to like help humanity. How can I use my skills to make the world a better place? I don't really make resolutions, but I have resolved to moisturize more. So there's that too. So what are your resolutions for this new year? Have you watched CBS News recently with its new editorial leadership? I guess just leadership. Does anyone want to hire me to run a news outlet? I have a lot of good ideas about how to make reporting better. I guess we have the Fancy Comma blog and this YouTube, but oh, and I applied to work in Congress, but I probably won't get it. But hey, at least I applied. But I'm going to moisturize more. All right, well, thanks for following Fancy Comma. Make sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe so you don't miss the video about the emoji we adopted. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year, and we'll see you in the next one.